Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and this is episode 422. Or if you're in my program, this is episode 657. Now, I believe that you're going to learn quite a bit from this episode. I know that it's allowed me to be more successful, more confident, and to receive what I really desire. Now, before we get into today's content, I do want you to know that maybe the podcast will be slowing down for a few weeks. I've been trying to do at least like one per week, but it's going to be a little bit quieter because at the end of this week, we're actually going away up to Santa Cruz in California, and we're going to be learning again, being students. It's always great to be a student. In fact, we should always be a student, and we should always invest in being a student of some sort because it means our stock goes up. So it's one of those things I like to try to do at least once a year in a very big way, and then obviously throughout the year of just education. And that will mean that we'll be away for a couple of weeks, and therefore the podcast will not have as many episodes being put out. I'm going to maybe try to do one more before I go so I can pre-plan it. However, if not, go ahead, dive deep into the podcast previously, especially the recent ones. We've been really going deep into stuff, and in this episode is also the same. In fact, this episode is going to sound counterintuitive, so it might not feel right in the beginning, might not make total sense, but it's all about getting things done, and ultimately by getting things done by doing less. I've come to understand over the last 18 years with working with lots of different kinds of people, and I have the opportunity to model success. Because although they have issues, they are people I work with can be tremendously successful, and why wouldn't we want to learn and be able to install that into our lives? So I want to give you some of that philosophy today, that insight, because most of the time we believe or think in order to get what we want, we must do more. So in other words, we must do more to get more. We must do more to get to where we want to be. But you may notice that when we operate in that way, on a psychological, emotional, and physical level, it'll create lots of overwhelm. We're adding so much to our mind and our to-do list to get to where we want. It actually causes us not just to stop, but to actually go backwards. We get pulled into so many directions. And before you start adding more to your life, I think there's a powerful lesson to be learned. And it is the word no. Just no. You see, when you say no to things in your life, you're actually going to elevate your success. Because when you decide what not to do, it will be as equally or even more important as deciding what to do. When you have the mind that is clear, that is so precise in your ferocious focus of getting what you want, you will succeed. That tenacity will allow you to succeed. That focus will allow you to keep moving forward. But when we have a clouded mind by saying yes to many different things, and by yes, it could be to people. Like if we're just always serving others and we're neglecting ourselves, at the end of the day, in the long run, you'll actually be doing people a disservice because they will not get your fullest energy because you will be depleted. But when you start to say no to certain obligations which should not be obligations, and here's the big one, when you start saying no to the things which are not adding value in your life, when you start to give up certain things, it will allow you to be more decisive, more focused on what needs to be done. Not what you want to do, but what needs to be done. The power of no, when you say no to certain opportunities, when you say no to certain behaviors that you're doing, time-wasting behaviors, for example, then you will go and have so much more time, energy, and clarity. So when we say no, it creates a boundary and increases the resilience within us. We need healthy boundaries after all. If we don't have healthy boundaries, we're going to lose our identity. We're going to lose that big dream of yours. Let's just say you want to feel unstoppably confident. Or you want to let go of a fear of being like an imposter. Like you're at work, you're a manager, and every time you go into meetings, you just feel that dread that you might get found out. This might be the day that people are going to find out that you're not good enough or you're not capable. Now, on the one hand, you know logically that you have the skills, but the unconscious mind is shouting every reason as to why you might fail. And of course, when we operate like that, we're going to not succeed in the way that we would like to. We're going to either just keep on maintaining, and we're going to be maintaining it in that fear, doubt. But when we begin to create boundaries on solving the issue, solving what needs to go, you will then send a clear signal to yourself that some behaviors, some things that you do are not needed right now, or some of those obligations which should not be obligations should not be done. Let's just say, would you prefer to be totally unstoppably confident or just watch a movie? Like imagine that, if you had a choice, if I gave you a choice that look, if you could watch this movie or watch this season of episodes of some TV show, or just like magic, you become unstoppably confident to go into any situation with strength, power, resiliency, which one would you choose? Now, of course, if you have an issue, you're like, Joseph, I will give up that TV show for sure. I will give up Facebook for a month. I will give up Twitter, or I will stop doing the things. I'd stop going out if you could make that happen. That is the kind of power of saying no that I'm on, which I'm really important about. What is really important, what is really decisive for your success. When I started out as a hypnotherapist, I was 18 years old and I was working with a variety of clients. So for some people it would be for quitting smoking, some people would be for anxiety, some people would be for weight management, for others it would be presentation skills, and my list was pretty much the encyclopedia of all the issues I could work with, because ultimately I could. I didn't necessarily like working with all the issues, but I could. And I thought that is the best way. But I noticed that it wasn't the best way. You see, now my business, my system, solves one main thing. Now, of course, for the person, it will have varying things, but it really depends if that person is experiencing that one core issue. And that one core issue could be a limiting belief about himself, or low self-esteem, or worries and doubts, or that imposter syndrome. But it's really the one genre, the one thing that I'm working on. And when I operate in that way, and the reason why I do is because, if you know me, I experienced just that, so I know how to overcome it. And also, having replicated those results with thousands of people, I know if I just focus on the one thing, it will allow me to experience the total success within that person. But if I worked on everything, my energy is so wide and varied that it just cannot be done. Now, of course, when it comes to that, I work with obviously success and efficiency, abundance, and all those things. But it still comes down to that one thing. And when I started to focus on that one thing, I'm very clear on what I can do. The success I can really get for people. And we have to apply that to ourselves. If you think of the one goal that you would like to experience, or one dream, maybe it's financial abundance, maybe it's that unwavering self-belief, then we must put everything else, most of the time, out of our mind. We should just focus on the one thing which will change the everything. If you have multiple goals, go for the one big goal which will give you the most freedom to sequentially get the others. And more often than not, I notice once you get the one thing, you change the everything. So be very clear. This is your responsibility. This is really all on you. I can't hold you through that process. You know what needs to be given up. You really do. I think you know there are some behaviors in your life which are not supporting you. They might feel good in the moment, but they're not really supporting you. They're not moving you forward, in other words. And if you want to be able to move forward in the most quickest and profound time possible, then of course, wouldn't it be better to give up the short-term pleasure for the long-term transformation? You see, if you go ahead and focus on that one thing and only get that one thing down, you will live like no one else. You will just be the shining example of what can be done. So really consider that now. In fact, if you think of the last week or the last month, looking back, what should you have not done? What should you have said no to? Now, if you think about that, how much time did you use in the things that you know you shouldn't have been doing because it wasn't yielding the real deep happiness, love, self-contentment, success, confidence, whatever it is for you? How much time did that take up? Because we have 24 hours in the day, and obviously some is allocated in little units from sleeping to eating and having even some, obviously, connection time with your friends and family. I understand that. There are some things that we should do. We shouldn't be a hermit after all. Although sometimes when we do, we get really successful in a weird, wonderful way because you're really focused. But, we need balance. But notice, if you were to add up all the hours of how much time you spend in the things which are not serving you. So let's just say watching a movie every night. Over those 7 days, that's 7 hours, which we could have been more productive with. All the times we were doing things which we know we shouldn't be doing. Facebook, if we just go on it for 5 minutes every single day, but more than that because we probably check it 10 times a day, then every day we're spending 50 minutes. Every day, 50 minutes, which is 350 minutes over the week, which is crazy. That's like almost 6 hours on social media. And then if you add the movies and things to it, how much real, deep gratitude and gratification are you getting? I mean, is it really a true feeling? Because if it is, it's perfect, by the way. I mean, if that's your thing and there's no other goal that you'd really like to really receive or get in your life, then be at peace with that. I mean, I know I am. There are things that I'm just like, I'm not willing to give up. But I'm also aware of the consequences of that. Now, if a consequence outweighs the thing I'm doing, then I'm going to definitely start to question myself and actually start making changes. But notice how many of that time we've spent doing the things which are not causing us deep happiness, which is not increasing our career progression, or is not increasing our business. It is not increasing the investment of a relationship. Because if you, for example, have so much self-doubt that it's just destroying a relationship, I think the Game of Thrones must go for a while, okay? That movie should not be your priority. Social media of just mindlessly going through, and I'm being kind of hard here because, look, I want you to have nothing but success. I know some people who make that big change and they are so ferociously focused that they spend within their business like 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, but they live now like no one else. They have all the wealth and all the connection and the impact that they're making in their business and the world. And that is so much more fulfilling, especially because they love it too. So we have to really decide to take notes. What is the crappy stuff that we're doing? What is really happening? that is not supporting you, and if you were to consider what that is in terms of how much time you are spending on that, how much time could you have invested in yourself? Be honest about it. I'm going to say that on average, you're going to probably claim at least 10 hours a week if you stop doing the things which are not really giving you the deep love, happiness, confidence, progression that you really want. I really think minimum of 10 hours you could be saving. Now imagine if you put those 10 hours into your passion, your solution to your issue. I mean, you could do it quicker than that, of course. You don't have to spend all those 10 hours. But I mean, let's just say you're working by yourself. You're not getting any support from anyone. Those 10 hours are going to be far more efficient than putting that energy elsewhere. Now, imagine if you said no to those things and reclaimed your power over the next month, the next week. What would you get done which you didn't get done last week or last month? Consider that. Because the more you say no to, the more energy you focus on the one thing. I'm all about the one thing. I've said this before, like I think it was a Bruce Lee quote saying he did not fear the person who mastered 1,000 techniques. He feared the person who mastered the one technique 1,000 times. Something like that. And that's so profound to me. It's like, if I can get so good at doing one thing, that one thing gets me to where I want to be. If I just focus on that one dream, or one focus on letting go of that one issue and forget the other things, I know I will speed up my transformation, my goal, my dream, my success by like 2,000%. I really know that to be true because I apply that in my own life. So when you think about that, doing the one thing changes the everything. Doing the everything will change nothing. I'll say it again. When you change the one thing, in other words, you focus on the one thing, it changes everything. But if you're putting your attention saying, yes, I'll do this, watch this, do that, then you change nothing when you do the everything. So what is the biggest thing that you could solve, achieve, that would evaluate the true identity of you, which would really unleash who you are at the core to be successful? Because I really know what to be true is that when you are the best at one thing, then you just feel great. You feel so much more momentum. It's better than being okay at doing everything else. Like I was okay at working with smokers. I got my success. I was okay working with weight management. I was okay at that. I mean, I solved it. It took maybe longer. But when I shifted into the one thing, which I'm so purposely passionate, just lights me up, the results happen just like that. 100% each and every single time. So that's just my analogy when it comes to that, but there's so many. I think there's probably times in your life when you're so focused on the one thing that you just accelerated your growth. So ask yourself about that question. What did you do last week or last month, which you should have said no to because you're responsible for that? Equate it into time. Now imagine what's happening the next week, next month. What should you be saying no to, and how much time will you gain to focus on what you want? What are you prepared to give up to get what you really, really need? To give up the wants to get what you need. Because we want lots of things, right? But there's things we really, really need. Like, I want to go out for dinner, but I really need to let go of my low self-esteem, for example. Because I know if I let go of that, I'm going to thrive in my career. I'm going to just get promotion after promotion because I have unwavering, deep, secure self-belief. So we got to weigh that up. Are you willing to give up to get what you really want? Are you willing to stop listening to the news, getting into political stuff, even giving up some hobbies for the time being because you want it so bad? Maybe giving up some obligations to certain people who you know you shouldn't be doing. because it may be taking advantage? What behaviors are you ready to let go of? What belief systems are you really committed in releasing? You become so much more successful when you focus on the one thing that changes everything. And the size of your success will be equal to the size of your own issue that you solve. I'm going to say that one again because it's a little bit tricky. The size of your success will be equal to the size of your own issue that you solve. So in other words, when you let go of your biggest issue, you will receive the biggest success. So don't work on symptoms. Don't put your time in places where it shouldn't be. I mean, like I said, I'm not here to judge you on that. You do that in terms of what you feel is not really supporting you. Because I don't know. I really don't. I know what I got to do in my own life. But that is the real truth of the matter. When you start putting your attention on things which are not serving you, and you put your attention 100% on the thing which will serve you the most, which will allow you to be the shining example to everyone in your life, that will develop deep security in your health, your finances, in your relationships, your career, your business, then to me it's a no-brainer, right? So go ahead and remember, it's important when getting things done, we must absolutely say no to more things. Free up your time, free up the headspace, and focus on the one thing that will make the biggest change. So I hope you enjoyed that episode. Now, of course, if you ever want to contact our team, we can figure out if we can support you. Like I said, we can't help everyone, but we can change and help and transform the one kind of person. If you meet that criteria, then we might invite you into our program, and that will let go of your issue all within 8 weeks. It's that big, that profound. It's got so many working parts, but it's a success model which works every time because we focus on the one thing which changes the everything. And for that, go to josephclough.info/go. And I look forward to speaking to you on a future episode, whether it be when I'm back or refreshed from my education, or maybe if I can do one before I go. Who knows, but you'll soon find out. Many thanks and goodbye.